The FNF community is weird is a sentence you've probably heard me say 100 times at this point, and if you haven't, I wish you a warm welcome to this channel. So what makes today's situation any different? Rather than being yet another Predator expose or discussing a crazy false allegation, we're gonna kinda meet in the middle. Some of you might remember that I covered an FNF modder called The Maze a few years ago, and in that coverage we sat down and I told you that Maze is wrong for a number of things, not least this message where he wants to make the FNF community, one primarily of minors, to be more kink friendly. Back then we all laughed and said it was completely disgusting. Now, a 16-year-old FNF musician was caught in a fat server with other minors, sending NSFW back and forth, and seemingly when I'm not involved in a big FNF story, the entire timeline and facts of the situation just go into complete disarray. So leave it to me once again to set the record straight.
I the fat girl one time. Oh yeah. Yeah. I did that back in, what was it, 2001 was it? And her, man, it was like swimming in an ocean of flesh.
Alright, 334_Sandy is a 16-year-old FNF musician who has around 25,000 subscribers on YouTube and 10,000 followers on Twitter. Prior to this, I hadn't really interacted with Sandy, but I was aware of his name to some degree. He's worked for seemingly every FNF mod under the sun as a composer. So the issue began with a Twitter user called Cornelius Cobson. Anyway, Mr. or Mrs. Cobson had received some leaks that had been going around some part of the FNF community. He'd been talking to another user named Array, and it turns out that back in June 2024, when they were 13, Sandy had some involvement in drawing fat chart of Array's character. Korn posts this publicly and then gets a DM from Sandy, confronting them about what's up, pretty much arguing with them, saying it's all false allegations, and telling Korn to never speak to me again. Little did Sandy know, Korn had the royal flush in their hand. Just before Sandy hit up Korn, they got Ari to leak that Sandy was literally in DMs at the same time, telling them to shut up and lie. Just lie. I didn't request. Why? Is that not wrong? I thought this was over. I'm not letting this kill me. Just say I didn't, please. I'm sorry, okay, I will. Won't this make me look bad too? If it does, I'll say it's okay. Like, he wants a screenshot, I think. A screenshot of what? Don't give him. This is probably just blackmailing to make it even worse. I won't give him anything. If what you said was word of mouth, then why does he need screenshot to prove word of mouth? It's stupid. This is nuts, especially when you look at the DMs and realize there is no blackmail here whatsoever from Korn. And as soon as Sandy's caught lying and controlling other people's words, he immediately folds and starts begging. I'm telling you, the switch up here as soon as I see this is so instant and hilarious, I just have to read it out. Why are we falsely accusing me of What's up? I didn't message you. What's going on? And this isn't really about the whole thing. My little Z to something else. Have you even seen it? I have, because Array DM'd it to me. Then you would know it's nothing to do with all that. Well, why are we falsely accusing me of You tell me. I'm not. I was told you drew it, so I posted that. Then I got told you requested someone draw it, which is added in reply. And what's the point of you tweeting that shit out? Like, I ain't even done none of that. Where's your proof? So you didn't request someone draw fat porn of a 14-year-old OC? No? I'm gonna check with Array, because if you're telling the truth, then your little friend is lying about you. I didn't even send it. I didn't do dude. Why are you getting me into all this, dude? I'm not, bruh. Don't act like I've made this up. I've relayed what I've been told. Leave me alone and never talk to me again, making me look bad for nothing. How is that blackmailing? Okay, look, dude, I just want to forget about what I used to do. I didn't even know she was 14 at the time. She told me way later, and I'm not even over 18. I was 15 at the time. Please, I'm begging you, please don't do this to me. I completely stopped doing like this on my life. Okay, so it goes from, for starters, I didn't draw. Ari told me to ask someone to draw it, and I didn't mind doing that, so I did. There are just so many lies seeded within this. He says that Ari was asking for it, but that's not true. Ari says, I wish I had one, and then Sandy straight up makes the offer. Sandy also says that he never knew Ari was even 14 years old, but then leaks started coming out from other Discord servers. Thick. Why are you so thick, being almost 14? Oh my God! What the hell? Literally the same day. Why are you lying about this? I also want to point out that I had my own conversation with Array, in which I was given these messages. I believe this is after Array leaks the previous DMs to Korn, and then Korn confronts Sandy. I'm pretty sure there's like a real-time reaction to that. And it comes off as manipulative when you're stressing that your career is doomed, completely blaming Array for it. I'm not doing that. What are you doing, Array? I don't know what to do. I'm really overwhelmed. I don't feel right lying. You've doomed me, Array. I don't want to lie. I really don't know what to do. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me, I don't know what to do. Array, what have you done? Array, please. I don't know what to do. Maybe don't send him Just, oh my god, I didn't send I don't know what to tell him, I'm sorry. Just say I didn't send Please, Ari, I'm actually gonna myself. Okay, I'm sorry. This is gonna make me look so I told him he didn't send anything. I don't know what to do, I'm sorry. It's alright. Yeah, dude, manipulating someone into lying for you by threatening your life, that's totally normal behavior, totally. Again, here's the thing. My concern isn't the initial incident. Sandy was 15 back then, young people make dumb mistakes. But not every minor lies like this, attempts to sweep up their situation like this, threatens their life like this. That's what is crazy to me. The publication of the Array stuff led to a massive leak, primarily centered around the Discord server called Super Mario. The server included several minors, including Array and Sandy, who were all sexually interacting with each other, drawing big, fat, sweaty blobs of their characters to jail to. There was even a kink list posted to the server, which was so vulgar, I actually can't read it out here and I don't want to. But it is very descriptive and detailed and depraved and just wrong. Not only that, but in the server filled with NSFW topics and mostly minors, there were also adults who were invited and joined the space, including Frazdude, who drew several NSFW drawings of a 14-year-old character, and Vizzo, who was previously kicked out of the community due to being a groomer. Obviously, all of this is wrong. No 13, 14, or 15-year-old should be exposed to this kind of stuff, and the responsibility ultimately lies on whoever owned the server, and the person who owned the server was Sandy. So when I see people try and make a defense for Sandy, or say it's not that bad, or try to make some belated movement to bring him back, bring him home, it makes no sense. Sandy obviously isn't a pedophile or a predator, as some deranged individuals have claimed, but they've still done pretty bad things. It's nothing to be proud of when you're caught lying, intimidating and demanding someone else to lie for you, being totally manipulative, threatening your life, and being responsible for facilitating a whole place of degeneracy. It shouldn't have been a server in the first place, and adults should definitely not have been invited, let alone groomers. I get that Sandy was young, he was 15 to 16 years old when this happened, and I think anyone who's placing a no-return policy on his career is too harsh. But there should be consequences and accountability for this kind of behaviour. You can't just let someone who does all this stuff and has had this much of a degree of irresponsibility get away innocent, because that's how people are trying to treat them. You have to know by age 16 that adding adults and minors together in an NSFW space is a really bad idea. And I think people are ignoring this aspect and defending Sandy more because, let's be honest, they like his songs. I've never seen this much charitability in this community towards a person who absolutely does not deserve it. They don't care if Sandy's a liar, a manipulator, totally and utterly irresponsible, they just like the music. I mean, look at the YouTube comments who think this all happened years ago when this happened all throughout 2024. The last message from the server that we know was from 3 months ago. I mean, look at the schizophrenic Redditors who are calling for the head of people like John Isaacs for simply exposing some of this stuff in a document and holding Sandy accountable. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm so sad for the poor little useless piece of John Isaacs deserves to be beaten until he's bloodied, because that's the only way someone this bad learns their lesson. Looks like I'm not the only one to threaten to kick his teeth in. Unless I'm mistaken, he probably read some of my comments threatening to hurt him. I want to hit him in the back of the head with a frying pan, until he eventually forgets about FNF entirely. You are on Friday Night Funkin' Reddit. Now, usually this is where I'd end this segment, but the thing is, I feel like I just need to talk about the existence of a server where minors were exchanging NSFW charge with each other, because it doesn't make me feel angry or irritated or shocked. I just feel depressed looking at it. Not to sound like an old man saying it was better back in my days, but it was better back in my days. I can't imagine me being that age and jerking off with a bunch of people on a Discord server because we have the same sexual fixation. That might sound vulgar and descriptive, but that's exactly what's happening here. It's evident to me that something needs to change, and it needs to change now. The reason why this community is such an issue is because it is inherently filled with kids. You can say that the base game is adult topics, they have references to the dirty deeds, they have characters involved in school shootings, but at the end of the day, you can't really deny reality. It's right there in front of you. Younger people love the art style and story. This community is full of kids, and some of its most popular people, like Sandy, are minors. One of the people in this degenerate group chat was Clocky, an FNF musician who I defended from false allegations last summer. I don't particularly take back anything I said about Clocky, they were falsely accused. I stand by the fact that they are false accusations to this day. I mean, I literally scrolled through the DMs by hand and screenshotted what I got. But in my call with Clocky, I specifically remember going on a tirade and advising them to just stop with the stuff as far as online activity goes. I said, go find an IRL girlfriend, a social life, don't be doing this weird stuff online. And Clocky told me and many others that they would. So when I saw Clocky caught up in these leaks a few months later, having not listened to a single word I said, it hurt me. Apparently this was a leak of their hard drive, and I mean, just look at it. Clocky is 14. This is just depressing. I don't think it's unreasonable to be willing to phase out this fetishistic angle of this community. And yeah, it might seem redundant or harsh for us to have to put on this standard, but seemingly everyone in this community, apart from a select few, do not have parents that can be bothered to keep an eye on what their child is doing online. We don't live in the utopian society of responsible guardians, so this is what happens now. Anyway, Sandy has since issued a document response to the situation, clarifying a few things, acknowledging some of the issues. Again, I'll end off by saying that Sandy isn't a pedophile, but he has done bad things. Lies, manipulation, total irresponsibility. And the fact that most people are unable to see that, either through misinformation or pure ignorance, is astounding. As for the wider picture, this whole situation again reflects more of an issue on how a fandom full of kids should not be anywhere near this kind of NSFW material. Not saying this is everyone's fault, but I am saying that you should be doing your part. And for the love of God, keep it in your pants. Until next time, stay safe and stay toasty.